A Last Final Project: How Science Has Changed by Christine Rorick. Science is the greatest change I see in the world today because I feel that science has been a really great stepping stone to all of the inventions in the world today, and the domestication was definitely one of the biggest stepping stones in biological life we live today, and evolution kind of creates a story behind how we came about, and I think that's really important. So prehistory to 1500 was the dinosaur era, and dinosaurs were the first technically mammals to walk on the planet, and they kind of were the start to the Homo sapien era, which we live today. However, according to Dr. Jost, dinosaurs are not completely extinct. She believes that birds are very similar to dinosaurs, and that they are descendants from them. And if you can tell in this picture, roadrunners and the bird-like dinosaurs have very similar skeletons and bone structure and even feathers, and they can fly. So that's where that idea comes from. Following the extinction of dinosaurs was the creation of apes, and the creation of apes was really important because it was the beginning of evolution. The first form of the ape was the Dryopithecus, which was also referred to as the oakwood apes because their existence was kind of more in a tropical area. Following them was the Ramapithecus, and they changed from Dryopithecus because they had more robust jaws and they had bigger teeth but shorter canines. They had wider teeth but shorter canines. And their posture was more upright and they used their hands more, so that's definitely more like humans today. So the development kind of started to begin with them. Next was the Australopithecus, which expanded from the Ramapithecus. They were also very erect creatures. They were around 4 feet tall and weighed about 90 pounds. So they kind of resembled a small child, like an average child today, maybe like a fourth grader. So it kind of shows how much we've grown. Following them was the Homo erectus, and they had a really big cranial capacity than the previous stages. And they also created tools that they would use in everyday life made out of bone or wood. So there was also proof found that they were using fire, which was a really big invention for them, and it's something that we still use today. So I think that's really important as well. Lastly was the Homo sapiens, and that's the stage that we're in now. So it kind of shows how far we've come scientifically and biologically over the many decades and centuries. Without evolution, the world wouldn't really be around today the way we see it. The achievements that have occurred are thanks to evolution and how we've developed as people and humans. So as soon as the evolution kind of came to a halt and we were declared as what we are today as Homo sapiens, they kind of began to live their lives and the domestication of animals had begun. And there had been so many different types of domestications, and the first domesticated were wolves. There are over 339 breeds of dogs which were domesticated from wolves. So it's incredible how from one type of animal there has been almost 400 that have come from that. There were 3 different types of domestication. There was commensal domestication, prey domestication, and direct domestication. So commensal occurs when animals live near humans and they kind of see how humans act, so they begin to act similar to that. And prey domestication is when humans pick the animals that they want and they took care of them and nurtured them, kind of raised them as their own, and they began to create a bond with humans. And lastly was directed domestication, which is like a breeding farm. So you'd get a bunch of animals together and you'd just breed them to make a bunch of animals, and they kind of are comfortable around you as they grow. So as I said, wolves were the first animal to be domesticated, and where there's a certain uncertainty of who domesticated who. So we aren't sure if wolves domesticated humans or if humans domesticated wolves, just because we're not sure of who started the habits of that we share. Such as marking territory, vocal communication, hunt by stalking, helping individuals, and long childhood. Wolves slowly adjusted into becoming pets to people, and it's kind of crazy how wolves became dogs, and approximately 44% of all households in the United States have a dog. And so it kind of just shows how far the domestication has come. So dogs strive to really have feelings just like humans. They really become attached to their owners, and when humans look into a dog's eyes, oxytocin toxin is released into their brains, and it creates a really positive, loving feeling, which is why dogs love humans unconditionally, just because of that one chemical that is released. Plants were also domesticated over time, and it's kind of crazy how plants were domesticated, because starting out there was only one type of apple, and now there's 7,500 varieties of apples grown throughout the world. So just that by that one apple, there has been so many domestication. It's just due to pollination and trading, and then more pollination creating these different types of apples, and that goes for all grains and plants in the world today. So without these scientific discoveries of domestication, the world would have less variety in plants, animals, and grains, and basically everything else. Domestication was the base for a wide range of ideas present in the world today. So in the conclusion, science started out as fungi and bacteria, and eventually the creation of dinosaurs that then became extinct, and then the development of the evolutionary process, which then led to the domestication of animals, which creates a connection to society today. Because we have these methods of domestication and knowledge of the pre-human lifestyle, we are able to have the ability to discover more. Science started out as fungi and bacteria combining to create life, then the evolutionary process began. Following was the training of wolves to become pets. Without all of these, life today would not be possible. These small scientific discoveries in the early day and age was the beginning of science today. Without knowing what created the first form of life on Earth, the knowing of everything else would be uncertain. Not only would it be impossible, but the discoveries we have made would not have occurred. Discoveries such as cures for illnesses, which saves lives. There is better technology now, such as telescopes, machines to separate chemicals, machines to determine chemicals, ways to pick the breed of dog you desire. The beginning of science developed the incredible scientific world we live in today. Without the progression of science, our world would not be what it is. The abilities to cure and to create would only be a dream instead of a reality. And here are all my references.